to the SBP podcast, Mobile Filmmaking. I'm your host, Susy Botello, and you're listening to episode 189.
We are Fade into Film.
Hey everyone, we are back in our Fade into Film show. We're actually turning this, it's been a year, and I've got Joey Min with us. How you doing, Joey?
Hello.
It's been a year since episode 150 when we first started our Fade into Film program, and that was published on July 18th, 2023. Like literally a full year. And now we are going into this in a little bit of a different way. So Joey and I are going to have occasional guests on the show, and we're going to continue on this mission to bridge the gap between indie filmmakers and smartphone filmmakers on a positive light. And so I thought we would begin with Joey introducing himself, since it's been a year since we did that. And Joey, why don't you share with everyone who you are, where you're coming from, and where it all started for you?
Hey guys, I'm Joey, and I think like many creators that have pursued this in their adult life, been doing this since at least my teenage years. I was I created a group, which is still called Art School Dropouts, actually. Created a group of like other artists from different mediums. So, some are painters, some were like, traditional art, pen and paper type of thing. And I was like the filmmaker guy. And we actually had a blog back in like 2010, 2013, like long time ago. And it's just that, from then on, I just really pursued filmmaking. And now I'm a filmmaker on YouTube. I've done, I guess by this point in time, I done Michael Jai White's Trouble Man. I was the fight choreographer, but I also help direct some of the action scenes. But that's kind of what I'm doing, and I'm still kind of pursuing filmmaking in the way that I would like to pursue it. To ultimately become my own director for my own films.
Yeah, I think you're going to bring a lot of really cool experience to the show. I think one of the things that you did now, just for anyone who hasn't been listening, because there's always, someone that just stumbles into the podcast, have never listened to us before, and this could be the first episode that you're listening to. Joey was at the International Mobile Film Festival in San Diego, and he did a workshop with Stephanie Pham, who is his partner in crime, sort of speak.
Yeah, she's my ride or die. She's my work wife.
Yeah, and so they were there, and they did a workshop, lecture, and a little bit of a performance as well on action. I almost said firefighting. I think it's because of the summer and the heat.
Oh, yeah. Hot.
Yes, it is. But in action fighting scenes for your films, because I do want to emphasize that even though Joey did film, why don't you tell everyone about that, about No Budget Zorro?
Oh, okay. So the thing is, like, I think you found us because we made this thing on our channel, because we did have other filmmakers or like up and coming filmmakers on our channel that watches our channel, and they're asking like, hey, is it possible to actually make a movie with your phone? And I'm like, why wouldn't you be able to, right? It's just another tool. So, obviously when we made this short web series, short film kind of thing, we wanted to match the idea that it's like, when people are saying like, oh, filming on your phone, it's like you could do it low budget, but like it, just to show the visual aspect of what you're using. It's just enhances like your tool that you have, right? So we had this thing called Legend of No Budget Zorro. Literally, we bought like costumes, Zorro costumes. We bought props. We kind of just used a backyard and put like different props there to try to use the theater of the mind for people to be like, oh, that's like that's a mansion, that's a house, that's whatever, or other things like that. And I think you found us because our big thing was to show our viewers that, hey, yeah, you definitely could make a film with your phone, you know, and still be able to apply the technical aspects of filmmaking to it.
Yeah, and the thing about it too, Joey, was when I watched that, and you had, at least at the time, you had them broken up into 2 episodes. And when I watched that, I think it was the first episode that I watched, I was really intrigued that, you promoted it as, yes, you can make, action films with your iPhone. And when I saw that, the action scenes were so professionally done. But then you had like water guns and Nerf balls or whatever, Nerf guns, whatever they're called, and you were using these toy horses, the head with the stick,
The hobby horses. Yeah.
And those were like incredible. And I was, the thing is, like, it didn't even matter because everything else was done so well, and the choreography for your fight scenes were just super cool. And then it was hysterical. And so I thought you have everything here in this one. And the other thing that I noticed too is, like, it didn't appear to me like you used an app. And most people automatically, when they start to make their first short film shot on a phone, they start with an app right off the bat. And I'm wondering if that's something you want to discuss, because you didn't need to.
I definitely did need to. And I think I was kind of also learning how to shoot a proper film on the phone during when we were doing that too. So I did know how to like lock my
Exposure.
my ISO, or my exposures and stuff like that. And even though like like the it's already given to you with just the basic just the camera app on the iPhone, but we were like learning along the way. But while I didn't use an app, I still used it as a camera, and I still imported the footage onto my PC. And I did special effects. I did use a gimbal. Actually, the funny thing is too, like the gimbal that I had wasn't even for phones, so I had to like add. I have to add weight to the phone.
Yeah.
Right. So I had all this extra gear because I didn't want to spend another $300 or however to like get a phone gimbal. I'm sure there's cheaper ones now, and I didn't know that then. So, but yeah, so we had like one of my my older gimbals, and we used that. So that's a thing. And eventually, I was like, hey, I'm just gonna put this phone on a stick with a phone holder, and we could do like crazy angles with it, like one shots type of thing, right? So,
like a broomstick shot type thing.
Yeah, like I literally just put it on one of my, like bow staffs, and like we just literally duct taped the phone mount at the end of it, put the phone there, and I was just filming it during that one. That's like a oneer, I suppose, like when the camera's like floating around the Zorro and the other people for like, I don't know, it was like 3-minute shot or something.
I love stuff like that. Those are those are the kind of stories that I kind of really like, are the making of, right? Remember in HBO, they used to do these, the making of this movie, and they would show all the details of that. I think it would be really cool to have a show like that for mobile filmmakers, just
that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Pulled together. And it's basically having people, be a really cool idea if you got people that do their their movie, but if they captured dailies, I guess, or like a vlog of how they built or how they made their movie, and you put that up on,
do a
on
little
your...
documentary of it. You know what, guys? Joey, see, this is why I love you, Joey. We just came up with this, and I'm going to make an offer to you guys who are listening. If you can do that, and you can send me, send me an email or something, first message me, whatever. Let me know, and we can put that on our mobilefilmstories.com, because that's for community members. It's like a network, and we have videos and films there shot, by filmmakers, but we could totally make a category for the making of, right, of your mobile films. I could totally do that.
I guess it's kind of like it's like a documentary. So not only are you making a movie, you're also making a documentary of your movie.
Yeah.
That's double the work. That's a lot of work.
It's not, it doesn't have to be, like HBO style, like they would interview people and all this stuff, but it's more like I did it a while back on, I remember that was the thing I got hired to do, and I had so much fun. Where basically I was holding one camera and just walking around on set and getting bits and pieces of the making of and some of the BTS shots of things. And I think something like that, if you could, put it together in a way that's a narrative of how you made your film, is what I'm trying to say. More like a narrative of, hey, this is how we made it and this is what we're using. And then you have people talking. Hey, what are you doing? I'm wrapping duct tape to get my phone onto this broomstick so we could do these shots, and then show a little bit of that in the background. I think if you did something like that, I would totally be willing to share that and promote you doing that.
Yeah. I think you're basically saying that people should keep dailies, right?
Yeah, in a way.
And then you put that together, and it's like, hey, now you have a good memory of what this production was like.
Yeah, and I think it'll also be very helpful for people who are starting out, especially with a phone. A lot of the people, and goes back into this program of Fade into Film, because it's like there's people who are making films that have already made films with a phone, right? Or with a different camera using their phone, right? It's both ways, right? There are people, you met some of the people in our film festival who were traditional indie filmmakers, and they made a smartphone film. And then you also met people who had never made a film before, but they decided to, shoot a film with their smartphone. And so I think something like this, is something everybody can learn from and can inspire someone who's already making indie films to say, okay, maybe this is fun and doable and could really work, and you can see the outcome,
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, I just think I thought this, when you were bringing that up, and then it gave me the idea, and now that you're kind of, inspiring me to do this, because what I'm thinking about is the community out there. It's another way for us to promote you and what you're doing, if you like to be promoted. So, Joey, I want to talk about something that I think is really interesting. I want to talk about movie posters.
Mm-hmm.
Now, traditionally, you guys out there, and not everybody makes movie posters, right? But more and more people are doing it. I remember in our film festival, there were some people I would ask, do you have a movie poster? And they were like, no, not really, especially for a short film. But if you are making a movie poster, the traditional way, right, is the size that normally goes, the ones that you see at the theater, right? They're printed out,
yes.
put on a wall or whatever, and then digitally, right? But what are some other ideas that we could share so that people can get more creative? I have some. I know I mentioned one to you, so don't bring that one up. Let me bring that one up.
Yeah. Well, being a filmmaker on YouTube, obviously, I think nowadays, no matter what type of creator you are, you need to, I guess it's part of the landscape now, but you gotta learn how to market yourself, right? Mm-hmm. And there are many, apps out there, or, even like social media sites that, you could promote your stuff on. And since I'm a filmmaker on YouTube, me and my group, one of the more important things that we need to do is thumbnails. And I think that is like the digital uh the digital equivalent of like a movie poster,
Mm-hmm.
for the things that, to get people's attention. Maybe they want to click it or whatever. I mean, there's a whole science to it, and there's a whole like method. And even now there's people that that would sell courses, or they have their own method to here's how to make the most effective thumbnail, and it evolves with people's taste throughout the seasons and how to make a really good thumbnail and stuff like that. So yeah, that's one thing. I think there's definitely, while there is a math to it, there's definitely an art to making thumbnails, and I think that's the same thing with movie posters, right? I'm sure there was like something artists back then would do, like, hey, this what would really get people to watch this movie, right? So
Yeah, and I think also, the different formats of a movie poster, different sizes, like from a 16 by 9, like a thumbnail, right? Through a, 4 by 4 or 3 by 3 or whatever for Instagram, right? And then a more traditional one, what is that, 9 by 16 for stories on Instagram and Facebook,
yeah,
you know?
that's the yeah.
And I think that when you're doing, if you're, so social media is probably still one of the best ways to, and it's free still for somewhat, to promote what you're working on. But I think one way to do that in stories, the cool thing I like about stories is that you can add a URL, a link. And the other thing is that you can add, I don't want to say in motion graphics, but like they're
That's a new thing now, man.
right.
That's
They're little gifs or whatever on those
yeah.
things. And if you do those appropriately, I mean, I'm sure there's a limit to how many you can add, but depending on where you add them, so I did one a while back for, my Substack, right? The first story that I wrote. So there's this guy holding a book, and he's got this book open. He's sitting under a tree. And one of the animations that I liked was the twinkling little gold stars. And so I placed that right above the book, right above the open book. And because it's got like this night blue background, right? It really stands out, and it's in motion, right? And so there's little things like that. Like if you just kind of pay attention to it instead of just slapping little movement things on there, you can literally create some really cool stories out of your posters to emphasize really things, which means like if you did have stars like that, you would leave them out for the stories and just know that you could add the ones that are available to you, right? And that's just one way of doing it. You can also save your stories as videos as well. And then you can, bring them onto other platforms. I used to do this between Instagram and Twitter, for example. I know, X. But there's little things like that so that your posters, since they are digital, they're not really limited to being static, is what I'm trying to say. Just a static image. I also have another idea, Joey. This is the one I was bringing up before. So a long time ago, long ago, back in the caveman days, I fell in love with QR codes. And then they kind of went away. And now they're back. They're becoming more popular again. And I think that if you have a printed poster, if you go to an event and you're bringing or a film festival or something like that, and you're bringing your posters, try this. Add a QR code with a URL to your movie trailer and show it to people, right? And you could do a postcard, right, of your poster, which is, I remember Levi did this as well. And so a lot of people bring postcards of their movies from their posters to film festivals like ours. And if you include a QR code of your trailer, that's actually pretty cool because you could talk people into making sure that they watch your film and promoting your film just while you're out at, Starbucks or something.
Right.
So there's a lot of cool things like that you can do.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think I know there was this. Actually, I remember seeing this one dude. Oh, so sorry about that. I remember seeing this one dude. He had a like a business card thing with like I guess like a monitor in there.
Oh,
I mean, I'm sure it cost him. That's not cheap, right? But I mean,
well, that
he
gives me an
was
idea.
yeah, and I guess it's like a monitor to just place whatever, and it actually, I think it's like was his like directorials reel and stuff like that, and like all the things that like to find his work online, and it's a very, I mean, we're talking about like marketing and packaging, right? So
Hmm.
that's why it works. I mean, people just kind of be like, oh, I wouldn't normally look at something like this, but if this guy put this much effort and it's creative and it's new, I might as well take a look at it, right?
It's not
It's
like the
basic.
typical thing that people see, and I think that's what you want to stand out. You want whatever you're marketing or promoting to stand out from everybody else's.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's the thing, right? Like slowly, marketing really has become part of um, the artistic, the creative stuff, right? Like you can't just exist solely as a creative in a vacuum anymore, especially now, right? You have to promote if you want people to see it, or like you would. I mean, no matter what, you promote in whatever way, anyways, right? It's just that there's it's kind of funny learning the business, I guess, part of being a creative in this day and age, with all of the social media apps and how you promote it.
Yeah, like you did. One thing you brought to the film festival, and I brought three or something like that of those home with me. One is in my bag that I take with me when I go some places, and it's your logo, your Art School Dropouts logo, and it's a sticker.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
and I made some also for my podcast. And so what I do is I always try to slip a couple of those when I go out. And if I meet somebody and the conversation, goes towards the podcast, and I'll pretend it's your movie, right? Then you can always say, well, yeah, here's a sticker. When they take that sticker, it's not like they're going to throw it away. Business cards tend to get, I haven't printed new business cards in a couple of years now because it feels like it's a wasted resource in a way where stickers
Mhm.
are not. People like stickers
Right.
and they'll stick them on something, but they won't just throw them away. And if they throw them away, someone else is going to pick it up and go, oh, look, it's a sticker. So
Right.
that's
Right.
one way to do it. But you know what you were just talking about with the monitor. So you know what a digital frame is, right? Because a lot of people have those at home with photos.
Mhm.
So I used to do this at the film festival. I have a digital frame, and I would put photos and some graphics from the film festival from years before, and I would put it on a table. And I was just thinking that's something that you could do if you make the frame that I have is like I forgot, it's like 6x4 format, which is fine with a 16:9. And if you use something like that, then when you go to an event or where you're promoting your show, your movie or something like that, or at a film festival, or even for the screening or something like that, what you do is you put the photos on a USB drive and you plug it in, and then it's on a loop. It'll go from one photo to the next, and you can format your poster in that shape and add it to it, show photos, and then in between those, add another copy of that image to promote your poster. So like you share, maybe some BTS shots or maybe some shots, some production shots, and then show your poster. Maybe
Mhm.
after each 4th or 5th photo or something like that. At the most, you keep showing your poster. But I think the posters don't always have to have the same image. You can definitely do, you keep certain elements so that people know, oh, yeah, that's for this movie, right? But you can change colors and you can change different things so that it still feels kind of new. on the post.
Right. No, I mean, those are good ideas.
Yeah. So I just thought that would be something really cool to kind of bring up for our listeners. And I really want to emphasize, I'm serious about those behind the scenes videos.
Yeah, I think that's a very great idea. If there's other, because there isn't really a lot of spotlight on independent filmmakers that just use the phone, mobile filmmakers, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at least here, like
I'm all about
kind of like
that.
everybody, yeah, like people would like, not only the filmmakers would be making their movie, but now you could have like the rest of your cast and crew actually, film some dailies for you guys.
Yeah. I mean, if you bring
Actually,
your buddy to your productions, if you're doing something like that anyways.
yeah. Because actually the thing is, the last project we're working on, there's like a bunch of like teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Imagine that.
And imagine that, right? And we said that, hey, it's not a closed set, feel free. Like, because I think we want to use the stuff that you guys, like take selfies, take video or whatever, and we're probably going to use that for marketing too.
Gotcha.
Right. And everybody's kind of part of it too, right? Like like, hey, they document their day, that's something that's actually kind of fun for them.
Yeah,
right?
it's very inclusive. I love that.
Yeah. I didn't see it until I didn't think about it until I saw it and how they were just in it. They enjoyed it. And I was like, oh crap, that's a really great idea.
Yeah. Yeah. And they can be a part of that. And then you could put these things together. And when you do that, create the thumbnail and then send a photo to me too, so that we can help promote those. And I'm serious, I've been talking, on this podcast and having guests on and doing this show and now in October, we're going on 7 years. And I know a few of you who are listening, I know who you are and things like that. And so I'm talking to you, and I know that for some of you, that I love to promote you guys, that, I'm very passionate about this, but it's you, it's about you for me. And I'm not saying use me, but take advantage of the opportunities that I offer because they're genuine. If you've been to the film festival in person, or even if you participated in some way, that I'm pretty real about what I'm saying here. And if I say, like I'm saying now, do something like this and share it with me and I'll promote it, because it does take some work. It's going to take some time and work for it. So I'm not going to ignore you if you share it with me. Just do your best at it. Don't throw something together that's really bad with like super fast moving camera moves and things like that. But do something, have some friends look at it and go, yeah, that's actually pretty cool. And then they just send it to me. And I want to promote you. I'm always looking for ways to promote you guys. You guys rock. You're my rock stars. I wake up in the morning and guess who's on my mind? You are. So, well, I think this probably is we've shared some good things for our first new second year of the Fade into Film program. Any last thoughts?
Not really, but like, just go out there and film, guys. I mean, that's really it, right? Promoting it and just inspiring you guys to make movies, right? It doesn't matter what equipment you guys have, as long as you have a good story to tell and you know how to use the stuff that you're doing. Even a phone could be like, most powerful tool that in your arsenal in making a film.
And if you need some ideas, watch No Budget Zorro. Thank you, guys. Thanks for listening. And Joey, say goodbye to our listeners.
See you guys.